Coming to you from the center of the universe in Lipsick, Wisconsin, it's the Hot Rod Tuesday podcast.
Hey, welcome to episode 73 of the Hot Rod Tuesday podcast. I'm Tom.
Kyle.
And Al.
So we made it to 73. We made it out of Chicago without getting shot at or anything like that. The people from Chicago, it was a pleasure visiting your city. Glad we're up here where it's quiet and we don't have to deal with all the traffic. But anywho, what do you guys think of World of Wheels?
Kyle and I are looking at each other like,
who's
going to go first?
Yeah.
You know what? No matter what you were looking for, you could find it there.
Yeah.
Including Beth. We found her too.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that later.
We did. Yeah, just an amazing show. You know, usually I can go to a show and I can walk away from it and say, you know, I had a favorite car. But at this one, I didn't. It seems like when I thought I had a favorite car, I'd go another 50 feet. And, oh, yeah, look at that one.
It's kind of back to the 50s-ish.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know, where you see something you really like, and on your way walking over to it, you see something else you really like, and you're bouncing around like
pinball,
I think you almost, did you skip? I thought you were skipping a couple times. You were so happy.
I think he tripped.
Was that what it was?
I think he tripped over something, and that was what it wasn't a skip.
But yeah, we were hoping to get down there and see Voodoo Larry, but unfortunately that didn't work out. He had other stuff going on. But yeah, it was a great show. We're going to put that one on our calendar. I think I'd like to sneak out to Detroit. Not sure how we'd get there, if we want to drive or fly or however that would work. I guess I don't know.
Maybe Uncle Ted can help us out there.
Yeah, Uncle Ted, if you're listening.
Yeah, I'm sure he does.
So tonight we got car show royalty tonight. We got Mr. Robert Larivee Sr. You're all saying, who the hell is that? Mr. Larivee is the car show promoter of all time. He's the one that started the ISCA, the International Show Car Association, and had all these indoor car shows all across the country. He told us stories about hanging out with George Barris and Ed Roth and all the other stuff that he had going on back then, the Playmates and Batman, and man, it was just pretty cool to hear him. You're going to hang out for that. That was story hour and a half. Not literally. I mean, it was probably 45 minutes, but
worth every minute.
Well worth every minute. The guy has lived a life that most of us can only dream of. And at 95 years old, he called in here, and we were able to talk to him for quite some time. And boy, was that cool. On top of that, then we got Automotion coming up. So we'll be at Automotion both days. We'll have a booth up. And make sure you guys stop by and say hi. And it sounds like talking to Ron there that they changed traffic pattern a little bit, allowing us to get in and out of the show without much issue. I know that's always been a hang up with people at trying to get in and out of the show. Well, I guess it's that's been rectified a little bit. You're gonna have to listen to Ron; he'll tell you all about it. But yeah, it was a fun week. Got to drive the truck yesterday a little bit, and
we got to start the Ranchero last weekend.
Yeah, we got that started. Hopefully, we got your speedometer working. Put LED lights in the dashboard so you can actually see it at night now.
Yeah,
that's
that'd be
cool.
nice.
But yeah, now with the upcoming snow, that everything will be assaulted again.
That word isn't allowed in my classroom. If they say snow, I give them the look.
The look.
The look.
It melts it right away.
But yeah, it ain't going to last much longer. A month from now, we'll be in full swing in car show season, and we're really looking forward to getting out there, driving these cars, and having a blast and sharing our good times with you. So with that, we'd like to thank our sponsors for the 2026 car show season. And, speaking of which, that's what I was going to talk about. Today I was able to finally change the Facebook pages.
Oh, I noticed that.
So there's one that says Hot Rod Tuesday Car Show, and the other one is the Hot Rod Tuesday Podcast. Appreciate it if you'd like and follow both. The other one's just pretty much going to be used for the car show, and this one is going to be our main one now, the Hot Rod Tuesday Podcast.
Yeah, so expect more posting and more traffic off of the podcast page, not so much the car show page.
Yep, exactly. All right, so here we go. I said, make sure you guys follow us on Facebook and Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Kyle keeps posting up those videos on there, and we got plenty of stuff to post after going to Chicago. If you're watching, hit like, subscribe, share, leave a comment. We'd like to hear from you guys. And so from there, now we want to thank our sponsors for the 26 car show season. So we want to thank Jumper from Precision Stripping and Tires in Reeseville, Bruce's Classic Restorations, LLC from the Slinger Metro area. We saw Bruce down there in Chicago, too. He said his first trip down. He mentioned that some of the lowrider section, he said some of the cars probably had $100,000 paint jobs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was along with him on that. M&S Fabrication, you guys looking for furnaces and air conditioning, give Bob a call over there. And Dennis Bednarski Farms donated on behalf of the Dodgeland FFA alumni. So thank you guys for helping out. And then this year we're also accepting night sponsors for door prizes. So if you guys want to donate door prizes, you have your own company out there and you want a night where you're going to enhance the door prize table, just get a hold of us. We'd love to have you out there. We got 2 nights that are taken so far. We have May 5th will be Hagerty Insurance, or the Greg Schwartz Agency presenting Hagerty Insurance. And August 11th will be Napa of Waupun. Also, along with that, Crafty Creations by Shelby donated a bunch of awesome merchandise. So we'll be having a much better door prize table, hopefully. Maybe a few less Bacardi tank tops.
They can just be, I don't know what to do with them. Put them in the outhouse or something.
Yeah.
Something about one of us in a Bacardi tank top.
Oh, there you go, Al. That's a picture you're going to be signing for people.
Oh, boy.
All right. And then I just want to remind you guys, too, from some upcoming shows that we're going to be part of. Cabby's Grill and Patio in Fox Lake will have a show on April 26th from 11 to 3. And Celebrate Waupun. We'll have a car show in Waupun there on June 28th, and that'll be from 9 to 2:30. And just keep following along on our pages, and we'll have more information for them as it shows up. But other than that, hang on for Mr. Larivee. You're not going to want to miss this. Hey, guys, we have a very special treat tonight. Coming to us from Detroit, arguably the greatest car show promoter of all time, Mr. Robert Larivee Sr. Bob, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tom. Yeah, it's a pleasure to talk to you guys.
So I had the opportunity to talk to you in Milwaukee, and then I talked to you again in Chicago.
Yep.
Kind of about your history and your past. One thing I want to touch on before we get into all the meat and potatoes of the stuff that you've experienced in your lifetime. You were at the first Detroit Autorama in 1953, correct?
Right, and people are always saying I produced it, but I didn't. I was simply a member of one of the clubs that made up the Michigan Hot Rod Association.
Yep.
But I happened to be a sign painter at that time, working with my dad. I went through my early life going to high school. I was going to be a dentist, so I went to a real sophisticated high school. And after a little time in the service during Korea, and I already had a family, so they kicked me out. And by that time, Hot Rod Magazine had come out. I always loved visiting a speed shop near my house, and I had a racetrack over on 8 Mile Road here in Detroit, and never ever dreamt that I would race there one day, but I ended up doing that all during the 50s eventually, and that was sort of the start. I just fell in love with the car thing and wanted to know how to make a go of it, so that's how it began.
So I got to ask you were a circle track driver, and I think that was your first love from what I noticed in your book.
Yeah.
You raced on dirt and asphalt, it looked like.
Yes.
Yes. Did you have a preference between the two?
Well, I honestly think that on dirt, the driver's more important, and on asphalt, the car's more important, because the car's got to be set up right on asphalt or you don't do any good. And
sure.
I don't know if I had a preference. I think dirt for the spectator is more exciting. And I like that, but I liked asphalt too. It didn't really matter. We ran on both. Eventually, here around Detroit, all the tracks were paved by the early 70s, and that changed everything. So,
okay.
But
so let's go back to the car shows here a minute. I had to ask you about the dirt versus asphalt. But going back to the car shows, so you were at the 1953 Detroit Autorama, and it looked to me, from the things that I've read, is that you missed racing, you want to do something car related, so then you started promoting car shows. So I got that kind of correct?
Well, I did both. In 1957, when the Michigan Hot Rod Association opened the first legal drag strip in Michigan, I was a manager of it. From 1953 to 57, I got so involved with the Michigan Hot Rod Association that I became president of it.
Oh wow!
And so I was the first. I managed the drag strip in 1957 for 1 year, and then they had a new manager every year. But yeah, that's how it happened. But I was circle track racing at the same time because I had started doing that either 51 or 52, and I did that all through the 50s. So. But I wasn't like a lot of guys that some guys tried to race 4 or 5 times a night. I couldn't do that. I had a family at home.
Sure.
I had children, and so I ran, 2 or 3 nights a week at the very most.
Okay.
Sometimes only once a week.
So then in 1959, you started Promotions Incorporated.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably 58, but.
Okay.
We did our first shows in 59.
Okay.
And my brother became my partner. I didn't have any money, and Don Riddler was going to be my partner. I had met Don in 55 when he was hired by the Michigan Hot Rod Association to do PR for the Detroit Autorama. They wanted to expand it, and that was a great move on their part. And Don became the promoter, or really was hired to do PR. Press material and make an influence with the public so that we could increase attendance, and that's what he did, and he became a personal friend of mine.
So Don Riddler, he's the one that they, after he passed, they named the trophy after him, I believe, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yes, he died in 63, and he was going to be my partner, but for some reason, he dropped out of that, and my brother came in, and he found the money, and I guess he was making more than I was.
Sure.
And we started off and ran a couple of shows, didn't do much. In the fall of 59 and in 1960, I'd already booked a building in Toronto at the CNE, the Canadian National Exhibition Grounds up there. And they had blue laws, so we couldn't run on Sunday. Okay. He told me that was a Lord's Day, and so we could run Friday night and Saturday, and I was able to get the one radio station, Chum Radio, dominated the market, and I was able to get them to a remote broadcast for those 2 days, and that changed my life. I mean, we drew 14,000 people, but we made $10,000 profit, and that was as much as I made in the whole year.
Oh, sure.
Working with my dad. So while I was at that show, a couple of other shows approached me, clubs, one from Buffalo and one from Washington, D.C., and I was able to add shows in those cities. And pretty soon, by the end of the spring of 1960, I think I had 5 shows going. So I spent the summers traveling. I didn't have enough money to fly. So I drove to cities. I would find out if they had a show, and I would get phone books from all the cities, the major cities I wanted to look at.
Sure.
And if they had a speed shop, I'd call a speed shop and find out what kind of hot rod activity they had. And if they didn't have a show, I'd get in my car and drive there. And so I had 5 shows in the summer, and that was the beginning of it all. And even at that time, we called it the International Championship Auto Show Series.
Okay.
And it stayed that name for all the way into the 90s, and we finally accomplished what we wanted to.
Well, that's, you look at some of the cars and the icons and things that you've talked to. One of the questions that I asked you when we were in Milwaukee is you were there for the start of it. You've seen all the greatest cars. Like in Chicago, you had the Red Baron car, and you had the Mummy car, and you had all these other ones. Was there one car that sticks out in your mind after all the ones that you saw, that when you saw it, you went, "Holy crap, this thing is cool"?
Well, aside from the 3 TV cars, which I call the supercars, the Batmobiles and the Knight Rider and the General Lees, aside from those cars, those 3 cars, there were just a lot of cars coming out. But my favorite car, of course, was always the Red Baron. And I happened to run into Monogram, who had it designed, and we're going to make a model of it. But the real car didn't exist. And I talked to the president of Monogram, and he made a deal with me that I could build a full-size car, and they would charge me some kind of a fee. And I thought that was a terrific deal, so I got Chuck Miller, who had just won the Riddler Award in Detroit. I got a hold of him, and he decided he would like to build a car. And finally, I got a contract from Monogram saying I could build a car, and that the fee for the right to build a car, since they owned the original artwork, would be $10. That's what they charged me, and I have that contract framed and hanging in my office. So
Oh, wow.
that was a deal and that was in 1968. So we had a lot of shows going by then. We probably had 25 shows maybe, and we were using feature cars, what we call feature cars, right from the beginning. I mean, we were, and we started using people too.
Sure.
People like George Barris and Gene Winfield and celebrities.
Adam West and Burt Ward, I saw in your book.
Well, that came after 70. And then
that was pretty cool.
But we used guys like George Barris and at the same time we were building feature cars, what we call feature cars, which are cars that are used for advertising purposes and are not in competition with anybody.
Sure.
And so we started building them, and we also started renting them. So I became friends with George Barris. I met him in the early 60s, probably about 1963 or 4. And I made a deal with George, and I made a deal with Ed Roth. I bought 3 cars from Ed Roth. And then I started with a straight truck, just with about a 30-foot box on it. And then my next truck was a semi.
Sure.
And we just grew from there. Eventually we had 4 or 5 semis on the road hauling cars and displays and everything else that we could, that we thought would add to the shows. And we hauled them all over the country for, not only for us, but for manufacturers, people that built hot rod equipment and that kind of thing.
Sure.
Like Stuart Warner out of Chicago was one of the companies that we did a lot of work with. Holly Carburetor. We just grew, and as we grew more shows, my big goal right from the beginning was to publish a program that we could sell at all the shows. One program, and we accomplished that in about 1964 or so. I'm sort of guessing here, but
Sure.
It was called the Hot Rod Show World Annual.
Yep.
And people that attended the show probably remember it.
I still have a few.
Eventually, we were selling 300,000 to 400,000 of those a year.
Wow.
It was the biggest circulation of a hot rod magazine, except for Hot Rod Magazine. That was the only one that sold more copies than we did. But we sold the same magazine in all of our shows.
Yep.
And then as we divided the country up into different sections, and as other producers came on board to be part of our championship, we would put a different cover on it for them.
Okay.
And for those areas. And that would help, with the sales in those particular markets.
So I want to go back to a little bit here. You mentioned being friends with
Yeah.
Ed Roth. When we talked to Milwaukee, you did say you were really, really good friends with Ed Roth. Now, for the people that are listening, I mean, everybody thinks of Ed Roth, and you think right away, you think outlandish, you think crazy, you think, a little edgy. How would you describe Ed Roth?
Well, I'm the same way. I was brought up in a very conservative family, and I'd never met a person like Ed Roth, where everything was different. I mean, he just had a wild imagination. For example, when he hauled his cars down the highway, he had a little burner on the front of his trailer, and he'd simply pull over and he'd stop and buy a couple of steaks and cook his dinner by the side of the road. I mean, and then he drove with me one year. I was coming back to Detroit, and he said, geez, I want to go to Detroit. I want to talk to the manufacturers back there. I want to try to get a couple of motors, and I'm going to build another car. So he drove with me across country, and that was quite an experience in itself. We got to Detroit, and I said, where do you want me to drop you? And he said, drop me. He said, you mean I can't stay at your house? And I said, Ed, I've got 4 kids. I said, I got 3 bedrooms and 4 kids. And I said, I just don't have any room. And, he's looking at me just like a friend. I mean, he was always soft-spoken. He was never big, brash and loud or anything like that. He was always fun to talk to.
Sure.
And he said, can I sleep on the floor? And I said, what? You want to sleep on the floor? I never heard of that. And he said, if you give me a couple of blankets, I'll just sleep on the living room floor. And I said, I mean, I guess you can. My kids loved him. He treated my kids great. They all got to know him. And when we'd go to dinner, he'd order 2 dinners. And the waitress was always dumbfounded. She wondered who was going to eat that extra dinner that she was bringing. And
Sure.
Of course, he ate it. So he was a big guy, a huge guy compared to me. And but the neatest thing that he did, in a way, one of the neat things, when I got there, I went to his shop. This was in 62, I think. He said, Bob, he said, have you been to California before? I said, no. He said, well, I'll show you around a little bit. He said, would you like to go to Disneyland tomorrow? I said, wow, are you kidding? I said, I'd love it. Well, I've now been to Disneyland parks well over 20 times. I've even been to Disneyland in Paris. So,
Okay.
but I went with him and his wife and his kids. I think at that time he had 3, but I'm not sure about that. And he drove me around LA. He took me to a place called Harvey's Broiler, which was the big cruise drive-in that everybody went to. It was down by Barris's old shop that burned.
Okay.
And you just went there, and if you wanted something to eat, you could park. The girls came out to the car to take your order and that kind of thing, like a drive-in,
Sure.
And but there were really cool cars cruising through the place all night.
Sure.
So that was another experience, and it was just fun meeting him and getting to know him, and our relationship lasted until he passed away in '01. So I saw him many times over the years. Sometimes I lost track of him as he went off and did his thing, and
Sure.
and of course I was doing mine, and I would always try to bring him back. And I even took him to SEMA with me a couple of years, and he could sell his T-shirts and help sell his artwork. And he was always a fun guy to have around. And of
That
course,
sounds like
everybody knew him, or if you didn't know him, you sure wanted to meet him. So he was that kind of a guy.
So speaking of him, did he make a cartoon based off of you?
Based off on
Based
me?
off of you? Like, yeah, you're the inspiration for it?
I don't think so. I sold a lot of his stuff.
Well, are you going to be looking back at all the pictures and just to
Well,
make sure?
Yeah, my daughter and I, my middle daughter Janine, she and I do the SEMA show together. We have a big booth there. We have about 80 feet,
Holy cow.
and it's run by SEMA. I started the art show there, but they took it over several years ago. And she sells Roth wearables. and does extremely well with them.
Oh, sure.
Shirts and hats and all the kind of stuff. Ed's widow has a store in a big barn in back of her house that is just like going into a department store with shirts of every size and every color and every design that he ever did. And I said, "Well, do you do good with this?" Her name is Eileen, and she said, "Well, UPS picks up every day." She said, every day we're selling because it's all on the internet,
Sure.
so you can pick up the design you want, and you can buy a Roth T-shirt, and of course most of them have Ratfink driving some kind of a hot rod or whatever.
Sure.
But he had other guys working with him. Robert Williams was maybe the most famous one.
Mhm.
He's become quite an artist, a very good artist, and but there were a number of other artists that worked for Ed, helping him create designs and helping him run his shop, which was quite small.
Yeah, I've heard it was a pretty tiny little hole in the wall.
Yeah.
I want to go back to George Barris. Now, I think pretty much everybody, excuse me, knows the name George Barris. I don't think that there's any question about the Barris and the Barris cars and the TV cars and the work that they did. I got to ask you about a story that I read, doing a little bit of prep for tonight, about you paying the bill when you guys went out for supper.
Oh, yeah.
You want to just talk about that story? Because I thought, I read it probably third hand, because I'm just reading stuff on the internet. But I want to hear how exactly it happened.
Well, I became personal friends with George. In fact, I went to both George and Ed's funerals, so that's how much I thought of them. And George had called me when he was in Detroit in a meeting with AMT, the model company, and we just became friends. He wanted to make a deal where I would take some of his cars on tour and that type of thing, and he would make personal appearances at the shows and sign pictures and so forth. So eventually, when we would go to California for a sales trip, which we did once a year, we would take a number of guys, but we would also bring maybe their wife or a secretary or something like that. And a highlight of that trip was always getting together with George and his wife and at a nice restaurant someplace. And so George always picked up the check, and I always picked up the check. So anyway, one year we were all going to dinner, and I told the maitre d' at the restaurant when I went in, I said, "Here's my card. I'm paying for dinner tonight." And so we sat down and had dinner, and George is sitting there waiting for the bill to come, and it never came. And finally he says, he got a hold of the waiter. He said, "Where's the check? We're ready to go." And waiter said, "Oh, it's taken care of." George said, "What? It can't be taken care of. It's mine." Waiter said, "I'm sorry, Mr. Barris, but it's all taken care of." Well, George found out that I paid for it. And so he had his head guy in the office the next day go to the restaurant, tear up my receipt, and he paid for it.
Holy cow.
And there were probably 10 people at dinner, so this wasn't $20 or something like that. It was probably $150 or $250 maybe. But that's the kind of guy I thought George was, and
Sure.
and I remember him for being. I mean, he was the people loved him, and I was at dinner with him many times, and somebody would come up and say, "Are you Mr. Barris? Are you?" And even if it was a kid, George would take the time to sign whatever they had. He was very generous with his time, and he just loved being the center of attraction, I guess, because that's what he was most of the time when I was with him. People didn't know me. You go to California, like if you went out with me in Detroit, there might be somebody there who knew me. But in California, if you went with George, everybody knew him.
Sure.
So it was that way. And in fact, I once went to dinner with Adam West and his wife in his hometown, Sun Valley. And
Adam West is one of my personal heroes, just in case you were wondering that. I
Okay.
love the original Batman, and I will fight anybody who says Adam West is not Batman.
I
well,
played that in
he
my
got
pop
up to
culture
go
class.
to the he got up to go to the bathroom, and the waiter, who was a young man, came over and said to me, "Is that guy really Batman?" I said, "Yes, he is." I said, "But please don't bother him, because people always come
Sure.
around when you're eating, and the guy didn't come and ask for his autograph, but he was happy just to know that he was serving Adam West, Batman."
Well, that's something else.
Yeah, these things happen all the time. I mean, it was, you never thought of them when they happened. It was just part of my life. I met a lot of celebrities, and I took them all to dinner, like Lou Ferrigno and Leonard Nimoy and those kinds of guys, Marty Milner and Kent McCord, and I got to know them all.
But hold on one second. I'm going to interrupt you for just a second. Kyle, do you know who those last two guys were?
Not the last one.
Milner and McCord?
One Adam 12, one Adam 12.
Usually I know that stuff, but this time no.
Yeah, they were on One Adam 12, and I watched that as a kid too. So,
Well, Marty Milner had made movies,
sure.
and he had a TV series where he drove a Corvette. I think it was about Route 66 or something. I'm not positive.
Okay.
But Kent McCord then became his partner when they were on the L.A. Cops, and they were just terrific guys. I mean,
Sure.
I really liked them. Naturally, at some point, you run into a celebrity that you didn't like, or was difficult to work with, or whatever. But those were few and far in between, because, and the same way with we became the largest booker of Playmates in the country for 20 years.
I'm going to share something with you here quick, and I'm sorry to cut you off.
Okay.
And hold that
Okay.
thought. When I was probably 13 or 14, something like that, we went to Milwaukee, and my brother-in-law wanted an autograph for himself, and then he wanted an autograph for a coworker. Well, me being, I was like maybe 12, 13 or whatever. I remember her name was, I think it was Debbie Johnson, and she was Miss October, and I don't remember the year. It was in the 80s, but she was signing autographs there in Milwaukee, and I had to get an autograph for my brother-in-law's coworker. Well, I got up there, and I could not remember his name. And then I was like, could and now mind you, I'm right at that age. I said, could you please sign us to my biggest best friend? I stammered through it. She laughed, and away we went. But thank you for that memory. That was something. So I'm sorry. So you used a lot of Playmates in your shows, and I didn't mean to steal your thunder there, but I had to share that story because that was one of the best moments I ever had at one of those shows.
Yeah, one of the best moments of your life, huh?
Yeah, something like that.
Again, most of them were very nice and fun to work with, and we became friends. I still actually talk to a couple of them, and the unique thing about it was that as we booked more and more girls, we were always trying to figure out something that we could do to add to that part of the show, and so eventually we did a fashion show, because they wore these very conservative outfits originally.
Sure.
And I wanted to get them in a bathing suit or something, and we were able to do that with the fashion show. And then we would bring in more girls. We'd have to book 4 or 5, and so this thing kept growing. And the neat thing about it was that if we wanted to meet with the head person, Mickey Garcia mostly, who was a Playmate herself, we could meet at the mansion.
Holy cow.
The only stipulation was we had to be out by noon, and so we would meet there. We would meet there for breakfast if we wanted breakfast I could basically say, let's do this. And, you know, Hefner had his own zoo there and everything. I mean, it was a spectacular place. And I even went to a Playmate of the Year party, but I took my wife along and we sat with Playmates. And yeah, so it was all, you know, it was all above board at that
Oh, sure,
point. And,
sure.
and it was really enjoyable because most of the girls were pretty nice people. So
Sure.
we enjoyed them at the shows, and it was fairly inexpensive in the beginning, and then eventually 20 years later, they all of a sudden brought a new guy in to run the thing, and the prices you know,
Oh, yeah,
quadrupled, and that was the end of the Playmate thing. So
sure. So I got to ask you, you were part of it, and you're running these car shows, 60s, 70s, and into the 80s, if I'm correct.
into the 90s.
Into the 90s, you were running them.
Yeah,
So what?
94 I sold to my son. Yeah.
Okay, what decade did you see the biggest growth? Do you think?
Well, in the 70s, a fellow show producer who ran a bunch of little shows out in the Midwest, a guy by the name of Chris Christensen, was from Grand Rapids. And he spent a lot of spare time, which seemed to be all of his time, in Hollywood. And so he got to know Telly Savalas and a bunch of these famous stars. And he came to me and said, Bob, he said, I think I can build your attendance if you'll let me bring one of the TV stars in or something, you know. And I said, I don't know about that, but he said, well, you know, I want a piece of the action. So we made a deal with him anyway. I said, okay, I was always willing to try something. So I said, let's do it in Dallas. And I said, you and I will go down there. And he said, no, I don't want you to be there. I said, you don't want me to be there. He said, I'll work with your son. So he and my son, Bob, JR, people called him in the business, they went down to Dallas, and he brought in I can't think of his name right now, but he was a strong guy from Mission Impossible, Peter Lupus.
Okay.
And I didn't even know who Peter Lupus was. I said, I've never watched that show, you know. I said, I don't know who Peter Lupus is. And they went down there and they doubled the attendance.
Holy cow.
And I said, wow, this is really something. And so we had to change our advertising because we were advertising, our biggest budget went to radio, and we had to switch it to TV. And he then got Marty Miller, Kent McCord, and most of the celebrities that we eventually used. And of course he got his little stipend for helping us out.
Sure.
But that was the thing that really changed our attendance. And because the goal, and going back to Don Riddler, the reason for Don Riddler was to bring in Don to try to build attendance. And Don thought if we had music, that would appeal to the family. So he brought in some rock and roll people from those days, from the 50s. The one that's best known is probably Chubby Checker, maybe, or some of those kinds of people. But that would draw the women in also, the wives, and make it a family thing. And that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to draw more people and not just make it for guys. And so with this TV thing, that even brought in the kids. And, you know, we would eventually book celebrities aimed at children, figuring they would bring their parents. And that's exactly what happened. So our attendance grew tremendously from the 70s on. And that's when we started having really, you know, huge shows, big attendances at our shows. And, yeah, everything changed, and you just sort of went with it. You found something, whatever it was, and you said, we'll try this, and if it works, we'll do it. And I often say we succeeded because of our ignorance, because nobody else was doing this stuff, you know, and these things. Nobody else was booking TV celebrities. Nobody.
Sure.
And then of course we expanded into sports and into football players and race car drivers, NASCAR, all kinds of things.
Yep.
Anything that we thought, the people would like to see. And that became extremely, extremely successful for us. And
You were living the life of, I don't even know how to explain it. The things that you've seen, the things that you've done, the people that you've talked to, the people that you've worked with, it just makes you an icon in this. I have one final question for you, and we have a lot of car show promoters that listen to this show, myself included. Okay. And they're all over the place, typically in Wisconsin, in the Midwest for the most part.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for car show promoters in today's market?
Well, that's a tough one because it's not easy to build a show, and if you're going to try to build a show, you need to try to have enough money to do it for 2 or 3 years. You almost can't do it in 1 year. So you need to build a reputation, and you need to try to feel out the market, the city, to see what's popular. And then you need to find out if there's clubs there that are willing to support the show and that kind of thing. And, there's always something new coming up. There's always something you can find if you look at it. And of course, you got to be able to afford it. That's the biggest thing. And, but eventually, if you stick with it long enough, what we found is, we had a lot of shows, and I'd like to think that more of the shows would have lasted than have lasted, because in 1982, my companies produced 99 shows, and they don't produce anything like that today.
No.
But basically, the bigger markets have survived, and the smaller markets have gone away. And so that's how it all came about, and eventually, just like in any business, we bought out a lot of the producers in California, and we bought Ray Farner, who took my companies to the West Coast. He had about 8 or 10 shows. That was a big deal for me. I mean, I paid a couple of $100,000 for shows, which, you would have laughed at in the beginning that you couldn't do something like that, but we did it.
Yep.
And we became very successful with what we did. So always looking for something new, something to add to the shows to make them more interesting and to attract more people. So obviously the big shows in the country, like the Grand National Roadster Show and the Detroit Autorama, the Chicago World of Wheels, and all of those shows have been very successful over the years and have stayed with it. I mean, they continue to grow. They still have good crowds today.
Yes.
But there aren't anywhere near the number of shows there were in the days of the TV cars that I mentioned earlier, because those shows appeal to the family, and there's nothing like that on TV today.
So
that's my thought.
Like I said, I got to meet you at the Milwaukee show, and Richie, the photographer, is listening right now. Richie, thank you for telling me to go over and talk to you, because the amount of knowledge that I gained in the short time that I've known you, I'll never be able to thank you enough for it. But you've become an author, and you've got a bunch of books. If somebody wants to learn more about you and about your life, how do they find out about it? How do they get to the books and things like that?
Well, my daughter sells my books, whatever she's got, because she collected boxes of them as I did them, and so far as I know, she's the only one that has them. So they're not available through the websites or anything like that. And you can contact me. I don't mind putting my phone number out. I don't want everybody to have Janine's phone number, but she still has some of my books, and I'd always like to sell more books. and that's another story in itself, because the big distributors don't want to mess with the little publishers like myself, and so it's hard to get somebody to distribute your books, and that's why I end up selling most of my books on TV. Whether I'll be able to continue doing that, 95 years old, but I still love doing it. I still love talking to the public and getting their reaction, and I'll keep doing something with the books as long as I'm able to. Well,
that's great. So I said I'll forever cherish my book, and it was I've been reading bits and pieces of it, and it's exceptionally interesting. But Bob, thank you so much for calling in, and I'm hoping I can run into you again in the winter shows next year. Hopefully we can reconnect again. And if you're ever in this area in southeast Wisconsin, I'd love to have you come out to one of our Tuesday night shows. But sometime we could talk about my interest. I've done a lot of traveling. I've been to Monaco and to the 24-hour race, and I love racing. But I also showed at Pebble Beach. I've been to the concourse. I spent 30 years on the Meadowbrook Concours committee in Detroit. So that's a whole different part of my life, and be happy to talk about that sometime. Well, we can do that in the future for sure. I'm just wondering if there's anything you haven't done.
I don't know. I kept busy, and it was a crazy time, and my friend Tom Vogley, who works for NSRA, he said, Bob, you got to realize that we started this whole thing back at the right time when the hot rod sport was, really took off right after the war, and we saw it grow, and it's had its up and downs, but all you have to do is go to SEMA today, and you know how popular it is.
Sure.
I mean, that's the biggest hot rod show in the world. And they draw over 150,000 people in 4 days, and a lot of young people. And I think it's alive and well.
Yes. So, Bob, thank you so much for calling in. We greatly appreciate it. And I would say on behalf of every car guy in America, thanks for bringing all those shows to us for so many years. And these weren't slouches either. These were some of the greatest shows of all time. And, you got to live it. You got to share it with us a little bit tonight, and we appreciate the phone call.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed it.
All right. Thank you, sir. Have a great night, and we'll hopefully talk to you soon.
Okay. Look forward to it. Bye-bye.
Bye. Ah, yeah, you hear that? That's the sound of real horsepower, not one of those electric sewing machine cars. If you like chrome, loud pipes, and standing around arguing about grabbing that $20 bill off the dash, you got to check out Cabby's Spring Revival Car Show. It's happening Sunday, April 26th from 11 to 3 at Cabby's Grill and Patio in Fox Lake. Bring your ride, check out some sweet classics, and grab some food. We're talking about brats, hot dogs, pulled pork, and there's even a beer tent. Oh, and while you're there, the crew from Top Flight DJs will be keeping the good vibes rolling by playing all your favorite hits. The best part? Entry is free. There's plenty of parking, even for the biggest land yacht. So the Cabby's Spring Revival Car Show, April 26th from 11 to 3 at Cabby's Grill and Patio at N10351 Howard Drive in Fox Lake. Now get out there and drive them. Join us on the phone. It's the keeper of the Children of the Corn. He's the guy that parks you guys out back in the cornfield. It's Ron Nelson. So those of you who don't know, Ron is also the guy in charge of Automotion, the classic car show portion of things. Ron, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. Glad to be on with you.
Well, we always look forward to it. Automotion is going to be one of our favorite shows. Just for fun, the dates of Automotion, let's go through that, dates and times. We'll just start with there.
Okay, the 40th annual Automotion Classic Car Show this year will be May 16th and 17th. Saturday, the hours are from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. And Sunday, it's 7 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Okay. So we were there Sunday last year, and for those of you who don't know, we are going to be there as invited guests. And we are really excited because this will be the first time we've ever really been officially been invited guests anywhere. We'll try not to wear out our welcome. But yeah, we're looking forward to that. We'll be there both days, Saturday and Sunday. And thank you for that invite too, because we're in some pretty fine company there.
Oh, yes. This will give your listening audience a chance to actually come and meet or put a face to the sound of your program.
Sure.
And visit. And so, yeah, we've got some pretty good featured guests. We've got TJ's Auto Body out of Waupun that actually built the car that's going to be featured on our posters and all the advertising for the show this year. And so we're excited to have them with us. Wade from Hot Rod Stripes will be on hand, pinstriping anything you need pinstriped. And we've also got the automotive cartoonist, Arlo Doman, that's going to be at the show as he has in the past. And for those that don't know, he creates cartoons. You can send him a picture of your car and yourself, and he'll develop a cartoon. And he gives one of them away to a participant every year at our show. So that's something to look forward to. So, yeah, we're blessed with a good cast of featured guests this year. And each of our featured guests are asked to pick a car that strikes their interest, and we have an award for each of the featured guests to give away at the awards at 2:00 on Sunday afternoon. So, well, a little touch to it.
You mentioned that people will finally be able to put a face to the sound. Al, you might be able to finally sign that autograph that we've been waiting for.
Oh, hallelujah. Yeah, that's on my bucket list. Not really.
Then why you're practicing it so much?
Yeah.
What do I...
He's got. You should see his stash of Sharpies. He's ready to go, folks.
It takes a lot of Sharpie to get through 2 letters.
Yeah. We'll make sure we get some headshots for you to autograph.
Oh, Lord.
Anyway, so people are pretty familiar with what goes on at Automotion, and we hear a lot of the naysayers. Oh, it's too busy, it's too crazy, it's too this, it's too that. Well, the car show itself is phenomenal, the classic car show. And for those of you coming to the show, if you take 33 through Portage and then get on the west side of Portage and then take Highway U to Highway A comes right into the backside, and you can just basically cross the street and you're going to be at Automotion. You don't have to worry about driving down Dells Parkway. So where there's a will, there's a way. If you want to drive down Dells Parkway during the middle of the afternoon, you definitely can.
So that's not the way you're talking about, not the Parkway. It's a different way.
Yeah. Oh, if you want to drive down the Parkway, you can. But
well, you said where there's a will, there's a way. So maybe the Parkway or a different way.
But there's ways around everything. And, I'd hate for people to miss out on such an awesome show just because of a little bit of traffic that you can drive around.
Right.
So
this year, for the first time, we finally got everybody on board. The Mount Olympus actually owns the Top Secret, that upside down house next, right across the parkway from Highway A. And in the past, we have not been able to get all the approvals for people leaving the event to cross the parkway and head out A. But this year, the police department, Mount Olympus, everybody signed off on it. So that will be a good escape route for Saturday afternoon to avoid the parkway.
Perfect. So speaking of, do you have anything new coming up for Automotion this year?
This year at our show on Saturday will be the Hollywood cars. In the past, that has been down on the main drag in Wisconsin Dells on Saturday night. They have moved that to to our classic car show. That will be on Saturday afternoon, and there'll be a live band playing, and I don't know, there's got to be 6-8 movie cars that are going to be on display, and so that'll have its own separate little area, but it'll still be in the same parking lot as a classic car show.
Good. That'll be kind of cool to see all those cars we saw on TV or see on TV. But otherwise, we're hoping for great weather. We're going to have, like I said, we'll be there in force. We'll have, hopefully we'll have some sort of giveaways and things like that. Al will be there to sign autographs. And I believe Hot Red Beth will be there with us. And we'll probably do a show right from Automotion itself. So that'd be really cool. That'd be really fun. I think I'll be looking forward to that. But otherwise, Ron, thanks so much for calling in. We're looking forward to it. It'd be May 16th and 17th, Saturday and Sunday. The Saturday show is from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. The Sunday show is from 7 to 3. And, we hope to see you there. Like I said, we'll be there with a bunch of other invited guests, and we're looking forward to meeting all you guys out there. And make sure you stop by and say hi. Hey, everyone, this is Tom from the Hot Rod Tuesday podcast, your source for all things car show in Wisconsin and beyond. Get ready for Vintage Torque Fest rolling into the Dubuque County Fairgrounds on Friday, May 1st and Saturday, May 2nd. We're talking about a huge 1964 and older car show, massive swap meet, on-track action with vintage motorcycles, dirt drags, demo derby, and more. Plus 3 stages of live music, a pinup contest, vintage camping, mini bike racing, including what might be the world's largest mini bike parade. And the best part? Vintage Torque Fest benefits Helping Hannah's Heart, a 501c3 charity supporting children with congenital heart defects. For more info, check out Vintage Torque Fest on Facebook or tune into the Hot Rod Tuesday podcast on April 21st for everything you need to know about this incredible show.
All right, that time of the week. Let's hear what Kyle's got for history.
Well, we were in Chicago this week, and we saw a car owned by Fireball Roberts at one time, the old NASCAR driver. And it turns out that this week in 1961, he won a race by lapping the whole field 2 times. So second place was 2 laps down. A 36
Good old-fashioned ass kicking there.
Yeah, 36-car field at the Marchbanks Speedway in California. Then our next one this week is in 1969, when Walt Disney Studio released The Love Bug, with Herbie coming out there as becoming a movie star.
So we gotta say this. So you're doing casting for that movie, and we need somebody for a mechanic in this movie. And the guy looks at you and says, "How about Buddy Hackett?"
Well,
there wasn't at that time. He was probably the dirtiest comedian that was out there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, by today's standards, he's pretty tame, but back then he was like.
Oh, you do some YouTube searching on him. That guy was funny.
Yeah, he was.
A mechanic? No. Funny? Yes.
Yeah.
And
sorry, Kyle.
Okay. In 1982, a fan favorite was debuted. It was the Ford Ranger. The Ford Ranger pickup debuted on March 12th, 1982.
Yeah, it was a little tiny pickup. I don't know if I even could fit in one right now, at least not comfortably.
Why am I laughing? I couldn't either.
They're tiny little things, but probably the size of your Model A truck on the inside.
Yeah.
But tiny little trucks. But they sold a shit ton of them.
Well, I know it was a newer one, but John Roachwhite had one all the way through high school. Still has it, I think.
Yeah. They have stacks on it finally?
I don't remember anymore.
Yeah.
In 2001, another NASCAR-related one. Kevin Harvick won the race in Atlanta a few weeks after Dale Earnhardt got killed as the replacement driver for Dale Earnhardt.
Yeah.
Beating Jeff Gordon, I believe it was.
Yeah, beat him at Atlanta.
Yeah.
That was a great race. That's back when we still watched NASCAR all the time, and man, that was a great race. I was a huge Earnhardt fan, and to see him win, that made my day.
Yeah, I remember seeing Chocolate cry after they showed that right away. And I think pretty much every NASCAR fan did that day.
Yeah, pretty much.
And the last one I have right now is another NASCAR-related finish. March 16th, 2003 is when Ricky Craven in that Tide car was racing Kurt Busch at Darlington. And Ricky Craven won that race by 10,000ths of a second.
So they weren't tied?
0.002. No. No, that is thousandths, not 10,000ths. That's why I don't teach math.
Yeah, I remember
2,000ths of a second.
And they beat the living hell out of each other in that last lap. I was listening to that on my way home from work that day, back when you could still get MRN radio on
The voice of
local stations
NASCAR.
here. Yeah, but no, that was a fun race to listen to because it was, I believe it was rain delayed, which is why I was listening to it on a Monday on my way home from work. I think, I don't know, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, it is.
All right, that'll do it for history, and coming up next will be the Buzz with Beth.
Hi, I'm Ed. Hi, I'm Bob. We're with the Wisconsin Specialty Vehicle Alliance, dedicated to preserving our right to restore, modify, and drive our specialty vehicles.
And we're listening to Hot Rod Tuesday podcast.
All right, coming to us from Sussexville, Wisconsin, it's Hot Rod Beth. Beth, welcome to the show.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Everyone doing well today?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Al, how are you?
He's cheeky.
Cheeky.
He's
I'm
cheeky
good.
or-
I'm good.
Cheeky or peachy, or which one is it?
Oh, he's both, I guess.
A little bit of both. A little bit of both.
So,
Man, was that some nice weather yesterday? I had a few cars at my indoor car show yesterday.
I had mine out last night. I came home from work and took it for a ride.
Yep, I could have had an outdoor car show yesterday.
Yeah, damn near.
Could have, you know.
Yeah, we took ours out into town and put some miles on it. And now it's back in the garage because we're supposed to 27 feet of snow this week.
Yes, that's what I heard. And then that means hopefully that they're not going to, well, I'm assuming they'll probably salt, but damn it. They were so close.
Yeah,
Better than
should-
peppering.
They were so close.
Yeah, the roads will be full of salt tomorrow, I'm sure. They'll start
Yeah.
spraying that brine bullshit down.
Yep,
So-
damn it. So here's what we got. So last night was our last indoor car show. Now, if it's really, really crappy out, we will do, and I will announce it on Facebook and let everybody know, we will do an indoor car show on the 13th of April if the weather is crappy. Otherwise, we start off on April 27th with our initial shows. I'm pretty pumped about that.
And we start a week later on May 5th.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then this weekend we've got the lacrosse show going on. That's a big custom auto show.
Yep.
And that's 3 days, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, 3 days up there in La Crosse. And that's probably, it's nice because we're getting to the end of the indoor car shows.
Yeah.
So that just means that it's just about time for the outdoor one. And yeah, it looks like it is right on, I'm looking at a map right here. It looks like it's at the La Crosse Center, right on the edge of the water.
Yep, perfect.
So if you like to fish,
Perfect.
you could probably do that too.
Yeah. Get a little bit of both going.
Anyway,
Get a little bit of both.
what did you
So
think?
that's going on, and then I just want to mention, because I think they've got a few more tables left. On Sunday, May 3rd, we're doing our second auto toy show diecast swap meet, slot car
Okay.
swap meet. So if you're interested in doing that, that's going to be May 3rd here at Sussex Bowl. You can call me and I can get you in touch with the individual that does that.
Well, on that same weekend, we'll be in Iowa May 2nd for
Yep.
Vintage Torque Fest.
Vintage Torque Fest,
Vintage
correct?
Torque Fest
Yeah.
is coming up May 1st and 2nd, right?
Yep, I'm pretty pumped about that. I think I'm going Saturday, if I'm not mistaken, but I'd have to look at my calendar because it's starting to fill up. There are shows that are starting to kick in.
We
And
are
I
going
believe-
Saturday as well.
Ooh, you know what that means. Al, are you going too?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. That could be fun. Otherwise, there's some shift and shines going on over the next couple weeks, and there's really not a lot happening at all until April really kicks in.
Yeah, give us like
And
4
this-
weeks and then it'll be
Yeah, it'd be crazy
going
again.
balls out.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah. And then what did you think about the World of Wheels, Chicago?
Didn't disappoint, that's for sure.
So
It was really good.
I had a couple takeaways from it. So the first thing that I didn't mention in my blog, but I was going to and I forgot, was the amount of young kids there taking pictures and like they're really into it. More so than I've seen at a lot of car
Yeah, I
shows.
noticed that too.
there was a lot of
A lot
younger
more
kids.
like real cameras too, not just phones.
Yep. So there's a lot of cool. There are a lot of kids that are running around taking pictures of these cool cars. The cars were great. There was a 29 Model A two-door sedan that I wanted to drive home. Unfortunately, I didn't have the money and probably wouldn't fit in a son of a bitch. But whatever, it was a cool car. There was a, I don't remember what year it was. It was like about a 50 Buick, and it was a yellow one with flames, and that was a pretty cool car.
So that one won an award too, didn't it?
I think that was one from back to the 50s, but now I'm kind of questioning myself.
I thought I saw something online when they did the awards later on. I saw that one from down the road over here won also, that blue one. What is that? What was it again? Can't think right
60, now. I think it was a 62 Impala. Or Biscayne. It was 62 Biscayne.
Yeah, it was Biscayne.
Yep. That car comes out here too every once in a while. And was built by a good friend. The engine was built by a good friend of mine. It just makes gobs and gobs and gobs of horsepower. That was. There's one other thing too that I noticed, and there was not many full-on custom cars. You know, you think back to the old days. There would be a lot of lead sleds and a lot of cars that were just tweaked, whether they had Frenched-in headlights, Frenched antennas, chopped, channeled, sectioned. There's not a lot of that. Now, I understand that they're expensive and they're hard to build, and those builders aren't as plentiful as they once used to be. But it'd be nice to see some more of those cars out there. They're the ones that, they built these car shows basically from way back when everybody wanted to see all those custom cars. And, that was kind of missing in my opinion, but it was still a great show. There was every car you looked at, they had something I could take away from.
Well, what did you take away from the Mummy? That thing was cool.
Yeah,
it was.
That was really cool. And the Red Baron, I've seen that at shows before. That's out at SEMA a lot. And that too is really cool. And they had the Snap models that went with it for the kids. And I don't know, that kind of stuff is always really cool. I always enjoy the movie theater stuff.
Really good attention getter when you walk into the show.
It was right in the front there. It was cool.
Yep.
Although the Mummy looked kind of beat up, but I guess it's supposed to.
It's probably 60 years old.
Yeah, I think so.
At 60 years old, if you don't look a little beat up, something's wrong. But yeah, I mean,
bite me, Tom.
Don't say a word.
Looks like he wants to do some beating up himself.
Yeah. No, there was a lot of cool cars.
That was a loaded question.
There were a lot
it was really a good show, and everybody said, that was so much better than Milwaukee. Well, yeah, it's a bigger venue. It's a whole nother animal up there with the Chicagoland cars and such. So. Even though there is really no comparison, but
it's really not fair to compare at the venues, but
no,
it was they have better resource in Chicago, and it showed.
Yep, they sure do.
It's like,
and it was $30, but it was worth every dime.
Yeah,
right. It was comparing those two would be like comparing St. Peter's Basilica to St. Mike's Church. There's just they're still both churches, but they're not in the same league at all.
Yeah, I agree. But it was definitely a good ride down there. And if you haven't been, go. And if I'm not mistaken, this weekend is World of Wheels in Indiana.
Oh,
so you could go to that too. Yeah, there you go.
All right. So I know you're dying to ask. So go ahead.
I am. Al?
I'm here.
Well, anything been screwed in or bolted on or cleaned or anything?
Or screwed up?
Tell you what. Make me an offer. I'll sell it to you.
What?
Yeah, serious.
An offer on the truck?
The whole shebang. The whole pile of parts.
Oh, so you're not going to put it together first?
Well, if I was going to do that, I'd keep it.
Well, okay, I'm not getting this at all. Why are you not doing something with your vehicle?
There's something in the works.
Uh-oh. You heard it here first, really? Folks.
Yep, we heard it here first.
A new pile of parts.
A new pile of parts.
Oh, my goodness. So that means you haven't done shit at all.
That is correct, yeah.
Can we just say excrement from here on out?
That's fine. Fine.
All right. So, speaking of which, Al, it's your favorite spot of the week. Here comes the shit that Al says. Al, what do you got this week?
You mean the excrement? Yeah.
Excrement, yep.
The excrement, Al says.
That's a shirt.
All right. I'm used to sharing my conscious thoughts. Are you all ready for a dream?
Oh, boy.
Sure.
That was it, right?
Yeah, no.
Oh, okay.
So the other night I had a dream. The wife and I were at the bank, and all of a sudden the front door bursts open. Guy comes in wearing a mask, got a gun. Bang! He fires around into the ceiling, yells, "Everybody on the floor." Of course, we all get down. And during the commotion, the guy's mask, it slipped. He puts it back up, and he walks up to the first guy, and he says, "Did you see my face?" And the guy says, yeah, I saw your face. Bang, he shoots him dead. Walks up to another guy, says, "How about you? Did you see my face?" And the guy's like, "Don't shoot me, but yeah, I saw your face." Bang, he shoots him dead. Then he walks over to me. He says, "How about you? You see my face?" I said, No, I didn't see your face. But my wife did.
I knew he was going to say that.
So did I.
No, but she did with a big finger pointing towards her.
That's probably true.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh.
Ay, 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 ay.
All right. That's going to do it for this episode of the Hot Rod Tuesday podcast. Thanks for hanging out with us and spending your time with us. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you subscribe to me. Pass it along to a buddy who's into hot rods too. If there's something you want us to talk about or a build you want to share, just reach out. We're always ready to hear from you. You can check us out at hotrodtuesdaypodcast.com. Email us at hotrodtuesdaypodcast@gmail.com. Or you can call or text us at 920-306-1411. So until next Tuesday, take it easy, keep the wheels turning, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the Hot Rod Tuesday podcast.
Yep, get ready to get out there and start driving them. So pretty soon.
It's coming. All right, guys, have a great week.
Bye. Take care.